Hey everybody, this is Professor Lilly, and I want to welcome you to Popular Culture in America, CM306. And I am very excited about this course. It's the first time I've been teaching, or I've taught the course, and I got the opportunity to completely redesign it for online only asynchronous course starting for the first time, like I said, this semester. So, um, with that in mind, it is important for you to understand what asynchronous means and what it means in conjunction with your other courses. So it means that this course was designed specifically to be online only for students who could be able to take it if they had to stay at a home for a semester or if they were abroad. And it was actually approved to be online only before the coronavirus pandemic. So what that means is it might you might think of some of your other courses where, let's say, a professor is older and is going to be teaching this semester online only because they can't come to us to come to campus, and so that's a different kind of online only situation than the way this one has been designed. So in that course, or some of your other courses might be very heavy with Zoom, and in this course I'm not even supposed to or allowed to do Zoom as or have an expectation to have a set meeting time. So there's no set meeting time. If you and one of the things you need to do this first week is to come to Moodle, and you will see that all of these tabs are weekly tabs. So each week there will be several activities that you'll be expected to complete, and you'll have to usually complete them by either Thursday and or there might be, if there's a Thursday deadline, it means that usually there's something else to be done by the next Sunday. So you get to basically choose your own schedule in terms of when you're working on these assignments. It could be at 3 o'clock in the morning, it could be 8 o'clock in the morning, it could be in the evening. So you'll be working around your other, I know some of you have internships, a few of you even have jobs or part-time jobs already, um, and others obviously have a lot of other classes to do. So um, that means it does take a little bit more responsibility, I think, to make sure that you're on top of these classes. I think some students do better with or do well with a really set, rigid kind of campus type schedule. But with the reality of work today and the type of jobs that you will have, you're going to kind of need to be familiar with and comfortable with and responsible enough to do things at lots of different times throughout the work week. And hopefully this type of course will help you to be able to do that. Um, so what are we doing in this class? This class is asking you and telling you and inviting you to take popular culture seriously. And basically, popular culture is all of the cultural texts that we encounter every day. And we live in a society that's very much saturated with these cultural texts. So I'm talking about all movies, television shows, music, books, magazines, social media. So today we access a lot of our popular culture through our devices. And when I was a kid, the main device would have been a television set sitting in the corner with only a few channels, but also records and then cassettes and the radio. So I think that my my generation, maybe a little bit older, like I'm kind of midway in Generation X, and was the first to really be raised a lot on popular culture because it was in the home at that time. But if you take my parents' generation, the only kind of popular culture that was in the home, like all the time there, would have been radio and then eventually television. But for them, it would have been radio and magazines and newspapers and things like that. So not inundating their everyday lives in the same way that these popular culture texts did for my generation, and certainly with your generation now that it's you know whenever you want it right here. And in fact, to a lot of extent, you're getting a lot of stuff you don't necessarily really want. It's a little bit overwhelming. Um, and so, you might think of that as being, well, this might be kind of I'm going to play this while I talk. You might think about it being a soft class of just being able to, you're going to be doing lots of watching of movies and TV shows and listening to a lot of popular album songs. Um, and think of it as being soft in a certain kind of way, because presumably these are things you'll hopefully enjoy analyzing and trying to understand better. But at the same time, um, this is a billion-dollar industry, right? And it's particularly attuned to communication students, who many of you will be creating media, creating popular culture texts. I mean, a lot of them will be more corporate-oriented if you're in public relations or advertising. But still, I mean, it's still an aspect of popular culture. And these, again, is one of the main, if not the main, American industry. And we'll talk about a little bit later the ways in which, at least, especially in the, I'd say the 50s through the 90s, the American cultural industries really dominated this industry throughout the world, for many reasons, because of digital technologies. And the internet and other things like that. We don't dominate quite the same way, but still, it's a billion-dollar industry. And I can assure you that the people who are making these movies and television shows are take popular culture seriously, and they think hard about what they're doing. So you saw some of these you know top female stereotypes here, and so these, some of these you might kind of laugh at if some of them are, things that you wouldn't see in a lot of shows today. But it just goes to remind us that popular culture tells us about our own culture, our own society, and it helps us to learn about them. Okay, so and it's partially because of scholars and critics who have gone out and complained about some of the stereotypes in these cultural texts, that because of that things have helped to change. And you can imagine that if you were like, I have a daughter, and if I was going to sit down with her and watch all the old Disney movies and all the cliches about the female characters, then I would need to sit down with her and talk about help her to recognize the ways that those are not realistic, and how she, as a young female growing up in this culture, wants to not just look at those stereotypical models in terms of how she wants to be when she grows up. So let me get back to talking about this course specifically. So like I said, we are going to be doing a lot of analyzation of all these popular culture texts. And first we are going to learn in the first few weeks how to do that. So there's going to be several what I call tools for analyzation that I'm going to have you read about and try to understand better, for different ways that you could kind of take apart a particular text, like one movie or television series or an album, and be able to really break it down and think about what is the impact that this has had on culture. Why have these meanings in this particular text? How is it influencing people? Who are the fans? And what can we really learn about the kind of influence that this text has on society, and what it's saying about our society? And we will have a lot of opportunities for you to practice that before we kind of get into the larger assignments. We will have 3 weeks in the middle here where we're looking at music and popular culture, and you will be working in a group to start to do that. So you see here we have several groups where one group will be assigned to what I call listening groups. So to listen to a group of 90s rap music, and then another one, Riot Girl music, which is kind of a subgenre of alternative rock or grunge for the 90s, house music, and metal, and as well as jazz. So there will be a fair amount of group work, and Part of the reason why we have designed it that way is because since it's an asynchronous class, you kind of miss out on some of the camaraderie and learning from other students in the class that you would have in a real classroom. Um, and so it kind of helps to reduce the sense of isolation if you're only working one-on-one or just by yourself on all these assignments and seeing like the professor video like you are now. So it kind of makes it feel more isolated. Um, so these group assignments are still technically asynchronous. I mean, if you wanted to do a Zoom meeting or some kind of live meeting like Google Meetups, you are more than welcome to, but you don't have to. You can do all the group assignments working with email, and there's going to be some discussion forums on the Moodle site as a way to communicate and collaborate to do whatever the activity is. So this can also could be completely asynchronous, working together to do something like in one of the assignments you have an opportunity to either make a PowerPoint presentation or do a more of a traditional short essay. Um, and so we'll have two of these, what I call modules. So we have a music module and then a TV and film module where each group will be analyzing one particular television series. And this actually happens to be partially over the Easter break, so you'll have a little bit more time then to you'll be just basically you'll be watching one series of or one season of whatever television series your group was assigned, and it gives a lot of leeway. So for each group, there's going to be two or three different options in terms of which television series that you individually will watch, and then you'll come back later and add to the group's research presentation on that particular genre, so focusing on genres. And then at the very end, you will choose your own, you'll work individually to choose your own either movie or album or TV series to analyze in all the ways that we've learned how to analyze them throughout the semester. So I think it's going to be a really fun class. And again, you just have to make sure you come into Moodle every week and learn or figure out what you need to do. For each one of these modules, I will put out a video just like this one I'm doing right now, and I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll send it out on email, and then I'll also embed it here on Moodle. So that at the beginning of the week you understand what is going on, and you can also come back to this video more than once throughout the week to kind of learn again what I said is going on. But everything is also very specific on Moodle. So this first week we have a very light week, and that's just you going online and doing a video introduction in Flipgrid. And to get into Flipgrid, you would make sure you use this code here. Let me just do it to show you what it looks like. And in Flipgrid, you always want to join through Microsoft because our loyal email system is through Microsoft Outlook, and so you already have an account through Loyola. And so when it prompts you to log in here, always choose work or school account, and you should already be logged in. And then I have a couple prompts here, just asking you to think about your favorite genres of music and movies, and start thinking about why, um, and um, and just record your response. So with Flipgrid, it's really easy to do it on your phone or a tablet or laptop, and just quickly make a video. And it only has to be like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long, where you're just kind of starting to think about what's your favorite genres of media and why. And then the next thing you can do for this week, if you look ahead to week 2, you'll see that there's 2 essays here that are assigned. And the first one is a great kind of popular culture primer that just gets you into the kind of some of the scholarly words, like I keep on talking about cultural text. Like, what is a cultural text, and how do we define popular culture? And then the second one kind of gets into a similar kind of language, but talking about Potter as popular culture. And so these are pre-reading, which means you probably want to start reading them now in this first week, just so that you already are ready to do the activities associated with them in week 2. So that's why I just wanted to mention them now. And generally, you might want to be looking ahead to the next week, just in case certain weeks have a little bit more reading than others. So especially this week, since week 1, I'm only giving you one thing to do is to introduce yourself, since it's a short week. You should just go ahead and start to get into the reading this week to prepare for week 2's assignment. And I will send another video early next week talking about this assignment. Get into how we analyze popular culture, and then there'll be a little quiz here. So there are, I describe it as kind of 3 main grades, and the 3 main grades are your group presentation for the music genre analysis, and then your group presentation for the television or TV show analysis, and then your final project. I will put in a couple grades for your participation in these early weeks in terms of discussion forums. So there's certain prompts to be able to participate in the discussion forum, or discussion with your group on certain things, and then also there's the quizzes. So those are the main grades in terms of how the grading is done. And then, so this week also, just make sure you check out the course syllabus that talks about all these same things. But the main, if you want to understand the main kind of schedule, then it's all on focused on Moodle. If you want to contact me, email is by far the best way to do that. And if for some reason I don't respond in one day, then just resend it and say, hey, I sent this to you. Because sometimes if I have a heavy email day, everything gets pushed down and I just might miss yours. And then this is my personal mobile phone number, and if you want to talk to me there, text me first, because I get so much spam on my phone that I don't answer unless I recognize it. So if you text me and say, hey, can we talk, then I'll have your number and I can call you back, or I can arrange for a Zoom meeting at any time. So anyway, again, this is the first week is very light, but make sure you go ahead and start the reading for week 2 here this first week. And you'll see me again in my next video at the beginning of next week. And if you have any questions, just send me a quick email. So take care, and I'm excited about the course, and I hope you are too.